This is about the survival of the human race, a sign of the times, an analysis, and a commentary. Superdome power outage. The lights went out at the Super Bowl on Sunday night, and while the 34-minute power outage in the third quarter of Super Bowl 47 briefly flipped the switch for the trailing San Francisco 49ers, the Baltimore Ravens, who never trailed, proved more resourceful in a 34-31 victory. With 13:22 left in the third quarter and the Ravens holding a 28-6 lead, about half the lighting in the Superdome's upper section abruptly went dark, leaving only the field eerily lit. Power was lost throughout the press box, stadium concourses, and the broadcast area. CBS Sports said it had access to only 11 of its 62 cameras during the outage, and the network also lost its audio from the main broadcast booth. The incident occurred at 7:36 p.m. local time and affected the entire Superdome, as the exterior lighting went dark as well. After a 56-yard touchdown pass, and then only minutes after Baltimore returned the second half kickoff 108 yards for a touchdown, what appeared to be a full-on Ravens rout in progress was halted. Game officials moved the players to the sidelines. Within 10 minutes, an announcement inside the Superdome indicated that the lights would soon be restored, and they were, albeit slowly. Players never left the field area, stretching and running in place to remain loose. The crowd of 71,024, for the most part, remained seated. By 8:10 p.m. Central Time, play resumed. After a 34-minute delay, the 49ers offense exploded for 17 unanswered points in about a 10-minute span of role reversal to cut Baltimore's lead to 28-23 at the end of the third quarter. And while the Ravens held off San Francisco's offensive challenge with a key fourth down goal line stand, there's no question the unprecedented power outage affected each team. Some felt it helped their cause. For the most part, only Ravens players called it a distraction of varying degrees. A joint statement issued on the lengthy outage by the power provider and the management company of the Superdome tried to explain what it called a partial power loss. Shortly after the beginning of the second half of the Super Bowl, a piece of equipment that is designed to monitor electrical load sensed an abnormality in the system, the statement read. Once the issue was detected, the sensing equipment operated as designed and opened a breaker, causing power to be partially cut to the Superdome in order to isolate the issue, or so they say, and some have called it a strange power outage. This has never happened before at a Super Bowl, and the lights-out game Sunday proved an embarrassment for the Big Easy, just when it was hoping to show the rest of the world how far it has come since Hurricane Katrina in 2005. The city last hosted the Super Bowl in 2002, and officials were hoping this would serve as the ultimate showcase for the city's recovery. The storm tore holes in the roof of the Superdome and caused water damage to its electrical systems, and more than $330 million was spent repairing and upgrading the stadium. Sunday's Super Bowl was New Orleans' 10th as host, and officials plan to make a bid for an 11th in 2018. Legend has it that New Orleans' Superdome is vexed by the angry spirits of the poor souls once buried beneath the stadium, the remains uprooted by backhoes during construction in the early 1970s. Superdome became, of course, the site of many losses for the New Orleans Saints, and later the misery of thousands and thousands of Hurricane Katrina refugees who sheltered there. Perhaps it's only natural, well, supernatural anyway, to suggest that the alleged curse was working again Sunday night in a city that loves its superstitions as much as its football. Anyway, it's much more than all that. Superdome officials said the stadium was actually using less electricity than it does during a typical Saints game. None of its equipment, all upgraded since Katrina in 2005, failed. The investigation is ongoing, and for now, all officials will say is it was an abnormality. The stadium is built over an old cemetery where 30,000 people, including many victims of cholera and yellow fever epidemics, were buried. A dilapidated graveyard was supposedly deconsecrated in 1957, and many of the remains relocated. But when Superdome construction began, many more were dug up. The Saints opened the first season there with a 2-12 record and did not have a winning season until 1987, and the idea of a curse was born. This is also about the number 11, and there are a lot of number 11s concerning this game. It was played on 2/3/2013, and when added, it comes to number 11. It's also called Superbowl number 47, and 4 plus 7 is 11. The stadium is 38 years old, and when added, 3 plus 8 is 11. Advertisers paid $3.8 million per 30-second spot. Another 3.8 is 11. New Orleans plans on an 11th bid in 2018 for the Super Bowl, which coincides with the 300th anniversary of the city's founding. If you add 2018, it too comes to a number 11, which would be the city's 11th bid. Even the final score of the game comes to number 11 if you add the numbers together. 34-31. 3 plus 4 equals 7, and 3 plus 1 equals 4. So 7 plus 4 equals 11. In Super Bowl number 47, if you add the numbers, there are many more number 11s connected with this game. There is also a spiritual significance or side to the number 11. Isaiah chapter 29, verse 2. Yet I will distress Ariel, and there shall be heaviness and sorrow, and it shall be unto me as Ariel. 3. And I will camp against thee round about, and will lay siege against thee with a mount, and I will raise forts against thee. 4. And thou shalt be brought down, and shalt speak out of the ground, and thy speech shall be low out of the dust, and thy voice shall be as of one that has a familiar spirit out of the ground, and thy speech shall whisper out of the dust. 5. Moreover, the multitude of thy strangers shall be like small dust, and the multitude of the terrible ones shall be as chaff that passes away. Yes, it shall be at an instant, suddenly. 6. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake, and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire. 7. And the multitude of all the nations that fight against Ariel, even all that fight against her and her munitions, and that distress her shall be as a dream of a night vision. Revelation chapter 18, verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the leaders of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies and luxuries. 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. It's time for prophecy to be fulfilled. Everything is connected, and everything is numbered. And these are more signs of the times. It really is about what kind of world are we leaving to the future generations. And if it's not right, God will make it right.